Okay, so I'm off. I told the federal prosecutor's office in Hawaii, I emailed them that it's done. I'm making different choices then if they're gonna not do anything about this. Brutal rape and sodomy at the Best Western in Forest Grove, where I was stranded for a number of days, and then I paid for the last night, so I figured it was a place to stay. I knew. I mean, they moved rooms on me. First they told me there were no rooms, and then they said that they had rooms, but it was just all because the other nights were a little bit more difficult to put me down. But last night, I was knocked out at some point. I don't even remember when. And, yeah. So, there you go. But, I'm tired of... I'm tired of waking up and seeing my animals. Miho was curled up in a chair, the only real chair in the hotel room, and just frozen in fear. And Vito was just non-moving. She wouldn't even get up to go to the bathroom. They just get so drugged, and then on top of it, the terror and the fear. I'm guessing they didn't take them out of the room when they did it, so... How many men came in there and participated? The Army National Guard had a couple guys staying there. I wonder if they opened it up to them. Anyhow, on mornings like this where the pain is immense, she went after her favorite little pinky finger, my foot, my arm, my ankle. It's interesting, I can tell by my ankle is that when I set it down to drive, I have to purposely try to make it go straight because she's so gone to town on it, so it turns out left. So when I just place my foot, it just naturally bends in an unnatural position to the left, but for it, because it keeps getting bent that way. But yeah, my anus and my vagina are just a wreck. Definitely some tearing on my anus because I can feel the more sharp pain of torn skin as opposed to just the bruising on my coccyx and stuff like that. So YouTube contacted me and said, oh yes, that video did not violate our stuff. Sorry about that. That's the third time they've done that. They have somebody at YouTube, or they just complain about it and then try to flag it. And that was a video that was taken that's all black because it was just my phone on my chest after I was knocked unconscious. And I'm not sure if they realized that it was on because I had turned off the data and probably put on the airplane mode. Seems to make it so they can't know exactly what's going on with the phone. One thing I've noticed is that instead of it going to a default, like when I went into the mobile stuff, it says it's using a AT&T mini cell tower, and I can't change it. It won't go back to the default. Won't let me, even resetting the data connections won't let me do it. But yeah, I took that video like that, and so I don't have many minutes left to be able to. No, Miho, no. He wants attention. He wants me to touch him and caress him, and so I'm making different choices. It's obviously in the vehicle because I can feel it on my eyes. My eyes just coated with that stuff. There was some Asian looking dude, either Korean, Chinese, I don't think Japanese. There, he showed up right when the tow truck showed up yesterday. No, the Uber showed up yesterday. I had to Uber to Stumpy's Tillamook RV where I was gang raped and sodomized in his parking lot. And what's interesting about that is that before I was knocked out, so I was conscious and very much able to remember what happened. The last night I stayed there at approximately 9:15 p.m. The woman that lived on the lot there passed in back of me, and I thought that was weird because he had told me that the gates were locked, and although they told me the gates had been cut the day before the lock, and then again that night, I saw her go out the entrance that they used a clicker for. And I saw a truck on the other side. That was the second time at around 10 something, and I went out and I saw her leave, and I saw a truck open the gate for her. So somebody that they know that works there, not that many people are going to have that pass, able to do that. And then again at 11, and then he said he checked the tape, and I only came out once at 9, or one of those times, and when she passed by, and she didn't pass by any other times than that. So there's two explanations for that. Either Stumpy's lying, or, he's pretty paranoid about being sued, and I have no intention of suing anybody that didn't rape me, but if you're going to cover up for them, then yeah, I will. Not like I'm in that position, so can't even get anybody to fucking listen to what I'm saying. So, but yeah, that happened. I cut out 3 times. She passed in back of me 3 times. So if that's not on that video, then the cops should be looking at that video and seeing who messed with that video and who looped that video. I mean, these things aren't hard, especially if you have access, which I guess because Stumpy's one daughter is a drug addict, that would be, I mean, as soon as I found that out, which was probably the second day I was there, I knew who they were going to use to get in there. And that would be who they would use. Sounds like she's stolen from them, stolen from the business, and, you know, it's just not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, Stumpy wasn't a trustworthy guy. He was so sure that he knew. It's like he knew, oh yeah, this couldn't happen. You couldn't get gas this way in a vehicle, like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, you know, you may know a lot about RVs, old, like, you know, American RVs and everything, but you don't know shit about gas. You don't know shit about dispelling gas. You don't know shit about any of that stuff. So it's overconfident, and it's arrogant to think that you do, you know. I mean, everybody telling me I'm crazy and this shit isn't happening and blah, blah, blah. Like, I can't even fucking figure it out. And you know why? Because I'm not a fucking scientist. Not like Jeffrey Kuhn, my neighbor that had rapists coming over his fence into my yard and into my property, and stood back there for every year I was there until I left. And then when I came back, and he's a physicist, a University of Hawaii physicist. So I gotta make sure that these aren't gonna run too far on time. Try to get these uploaded. But yeah, just gonna make different choices, you know. So I'm pretty sure they know where I'm going, but I'm not gonna talk about it. But I'm pretty sure they do know, because I have to put it in my Google Maps, and you know, I'm sure they also, I saw them waiting at one of the rest stops one of the parks that I parked at one night, and I saw them waiting there as I drove by. And you know, because I have put stuff into my Google Maps that when I didn't really want them to know exactly where I was going, and so I'd put it in, and then I know I want to go somewhere, like once I get in the area, I can figure out where to go without the maps. But yeah, I'm done. Because this is one thing, it's like, there's just so many bad people. Like, I dropped off my bus, and one of the guys was like, oh wow, yeah, they'd steal the engine, but obviously he wasn't in the know of the situation. So the other guy's like, yeah, I don't think that happened. And I'm like, I know that that's not my engine, and I know that he gave it to Norm, who sells all those fucking vehicles underneath the bridge in San Francisco, because he's the only one that has 2 Toyota Coasters. So I'm guessing they took my engine out and put it in one of theirs. And that's why one of Norm's vehicles was at Auto X's shop in Portland. So kind of ties together, you know, like that. Why would he have one of those vehicles and he's claimed that it was a customer's? I would check the paperwork on that, see whose vehicle that really is. So I know for damn well they stole that engine, because I know what my engine sounds like, and I know that whatever's in there was not meant to pull that bus. So I'm guessing a Land Rover engine, something that they could get a hold of, which wouldn't be nearly as hard as, you know, and they're the same engine, but I mean, I don't know enough, but whatever's it, I mean, maybe it's not, maybe it's the HD instead of the HZ, I don't know, but whatever's in there wasn't meant to pull that bus, and immediately just started crashing and burning. Cost me over almost $500 to tow it there. Cost me $100 to Uber to Stumpy's, because despite the fact that I gave him $2,300, I don't know, I would have come and picked me up. I was like stranded, but the night that he left me there with no heat and was just like, use blankets, and I was like, okay, I can see what kind of person you are, you know, and just the whole thing. So not good people. So I left with this. He wanted to charge me another $700 to get the electrical stuff going, and at least. And nah, why bother? Because it was going on and off for a while. Like, I could get it to run for enough of the period of time for us to stay warm for the most part. And then he messed around with it, and now I have none. So whatever he did fucked me more. So, anyhow, you know, all I really wanted to do was take my animals and try to live in an RV and travel around the U.S. and, you know, I hope this bitch really does come after other people. I hope these people, every single drug addict, heroin addict, meth addict that they've involved in this goes after people. Because y'all didn't believe me. So you kind of deserve what you're going to get. It's kind of like voting for Trump. You deserve what you got, you know, which is kind of the destruction of stuff. You know, and also all those things always expose other things, but you got to see it, you know, like that whole thing with Trump, that exposed the DNC super clearly, and their super high level of corruption, you know, with Bernie Sanders and everything. Really, truly, the only person that probably has run for president in my lifetime that isn't a corrupt criminal. Probably. Most likely. He didn't seem like it. Wink. So, anyhow, I love these animals, so, you know, they got me pretty tied up for a couple months there. Pretty tied up. I couldn't get out. I couldn't make different choices, but I'm done now. So, different choices will be made, because I'm not gonna have this go on, you know. I'm not gonna get raped and sodomized and tortured every fucking night. No, and pay for it. I paid for it last night. I paid like a lot of money to the hotel for nights on end of being gassed, and this is a super easy way to see if Stumpy's a fucking piece of shit. Is I said, yeah, you know, like they're airing out my room. Like they moved rooms on me, and then they were airing mine out. Like they just had the door wide open. And it's like, because they were literally gassing me until the moment I stepped out of it and moved to the other room. And yeah, so... And he's like, oh, they do that to all the rooms. I'm like, I'm standing right here in the fucking hotel. Like, I can walk by every single door and not one door is being left open. You know, and I wasn't the only one that stayed in the hotel last night. You know, it's just bullshit. Yeah, they were airing it out because they didn't want to fucking breathe in all that shit. And I bet you anything they were doing it to the room I left this morning because they were trying. They were trying to knock me back out, and they almost accomplished it. Luckily, I woke up. They did go and stop my dryer, so my stuff was wet, and then I was just going to stay until it dried, which was like maybe a half an hour over checkout, and they called me, and they're just really rude and disrespectful, and I'm thinking, wow, I paid to stay here, I got raped and sodomized and tortured in your fucking hotel, and now you're being a piece of shit to me? There ain't no good people in the world. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And you all, seriously, you let a good person fucking suffer like immensely. A person that was willing to fight these people, a person willing to fucking fight and do the right thing in life, and you fucked up. I see very bad shit happening, especially for the United States. I see a very, very fucked up future for you. Because the cartel owns you. And you can thank people like the Hawaiians, the Hells Angels, the Vagos, every single motorcycle gang. You can thank all of them. You can thank all the Bloods, the Crips. You can thank all those guys for giving the United States to the cartel. To people who are vicious and brutal and fucking nuts. So good luck with that.